Hi, welcome to Kim's Art Show, episode 28. We are working in pastel, which is one of my favorite of all the mediums. Recently someone said, what medium do you like? And I said, I work in all of them. And basically I work in it until I can't do anything that I feel I like. And then I say, I'm never going to do that medium again. And I move on to something else. So we started with gouache, and I love gouache, but I wanted to say more, and pastel has always been my favorite. And so for the last couple of episodes, we've been doing pastel. This is one of the recent works that I did, and something terrible happened, and we had kind of a mini flood situation in my studio, and you would never know, but this piece got ruined. It was speckled with dripping water, but through the miracles of fixative and the forgiving nature of pastels, I brought it back. And so I really like the impact of the dappled light, etc. The next episode, I did something about, let's see the colors in winter, but in a much more muted palette, like it's still snowing. And the trick of showing it off with a frame just kind of makes it feel a little better. And we're all about the anything to help make it feel better. So just to close it on that. Every show I come in with all kinds of excitement and wondering, what am I going to paint? And so I have this stack of options. And I decided today that we're going to continue with snow on this small image that I was driving home and I saw this beautiful, those bluebell days in winter, that the sky is just this gorgeous tone. I think as artists, we're used to the sky being the lightest color note. However, in the snowy winter, it's not, right? Like the snow reflecting that is lighter. And so a composition like this, my easel just kind of canted, creates kind of this drama just by dint of it being a winter view. And so we're going to try that. And we'll see how it comes out. We're doing it on this green paper. Is that ideal? No, I might have wanted to work on something lighter, but I kind of had mentioned that in the new year, I'm not buying art supplies for a few months. Let's go through what I have and stretch myself a little bit. So this is pastel card, right? It's a nice rigid archival paper from Sennelier in this beautiful green color. I've been working on this kind of brown color. It's not quite sandpaper. It actually is like cork, and it said something like vegetable particles. I don't know what that is. I just know that it's archival and it really works well. So that's Pastel Card by Sennelier. And we're working with New Pastels and You Pastels, right, by Prismacolor. And the Sennelier Paris set, 120 half sticks right here, so beautiful. And so 120 for the price of 60 full sticks. So it's all about how many colors you have. This is a little sampler set of all of the colors of this paper. And you can see that if I were doing like a snowy, cold scene, it might make more sense to work on something light, but I didn't have it in stock. And so I'm making do. Gloves, fixative. I have a couple of brushes and a white pastel pencil and a black pastel pencil. And so I'm going to start with the white because I don't know how well you'd see the dark. And like usual on this vertical thing, I'm just kind of giving myself a not quite square and get in those basic shapes. And the basic shapes, this is always my favorite part, I think, because all it is potential. So, right, horizon, road. There's a little hill here with some tree situation. Let's see, pine tree. Always difficult for me to get, but the suggestion is there. It's kind of a farmhouse and then a barn. And you'll see, like, this drawing, not quite 100% accurate. I didn't grid it. It's not about that. It's about like the feeling, capturing what's most important to me. And it's like, what's most important might be that bluebell sky I was talking about, this beautiful like tree punctuating that. And look at the difference here. There's a huge amount of sky, and I've really made the tree bigger. I might decide I don't like that, but I might decide I do. The glory of any sort of opaque medium is I can change it. All right, so see how I've kind of claimed these things, and claim just mean like stated that's where I want it to be. So here's the road. It's a great perspectival vanishing point over here that's going to make some good drama. So the little yellow lines in the road really help to give you the sense of that fading into space. And the whole point of my painting, if you're painting in a realistic manner, even impressionistically, is to create this sense of depth like that. This is the shadow, this is the road, this is the white snow. Here's some more snow and a big plow mess. I think that might be kind of fun to get in. Let's see, snowbank. Maybe I do want to lower this. So here's a little trick that I do. Like, let's say that I've done my drawing and I'm not sure. Like, now I might take my black one and lightly make the correction. You know, like I'm going to bring that down. So I know when I am starting to get in those shapes that I've made these kinds of edits. I've done this in a prior show too. With the light pastel, I was checking out some of the pastel episodes just to see what I wanted to cover, because you know, when I leave the studio, sometimes I forget, like, what exactly did I say, because it's kind of a fraught experience to do this. And I like the sound that the pastels make on the sanded board. It's kind of noisy. So this is basically the point of these scribbles, is these are the lights, so that I keep that in mind. Like the road is light, but these are the parts of the lightest light. The roof through the tree, the snowbank, and the snowbank. All right. Next. Just like with any medium, you know, I'm going to start to cover the surface or the canvas or the paper. And so I'm deciding what color is this bluebell day that I keep mentioning. And let's try here. It is a darkish pastel. And see how held on its side, it's kind of the equivalent of a big flat brush. And I'm not bearing down very much. You can kind of see, like, if I were to hold it and go very deep, like that's more the color. But this is going to be built up in layers as I discover what color it is that I want it to be. And you'll see too, like my little guide, I go over that. It's framing, you know, with, if I have something in my studio, etc., that'll really create the boundary. That's all suggestion for me. Okay, so that's the first layer. I think it should be a little bit lighter. Let's see what else I have. It's kind of also like a greeny blue. This one is, see, it's like a little bit more of a purple blue. Layers. Some color pretty quickly. Normally when I do a sky, I use this color. See that? See how much lighter that is? I bet I'll be using that for the snow. So let's, since it's in my hand, cover that snow. first layer. I'm sure it'll get lighter, especially with that green, but that's where I'm starting. Next, green conifer tree. Let's see, pine. That's very blue. So I'm going to change that. I got some new pastels, and they are hard for me to get out of the silly little box they come in. But I realize you want the box to hold them in well because they get thrown in my bag to be transported around. And see, it's like that's the shape of the tree without, like, you know, when you're young and you do them like, you know, I'm not doing each limb. It's the shape in its totality. So there's some other little triettes over here, suggesting maybe a little guy over here. Okay, so we're getting there. Next big shape. So these are some smallish shapes. There's the barn and the tree. I think I'm going to do the road next because I'm intimidated by this. So for the road, it's gray. This is probably too dark. And this is probably too light for the road in shadow. But first layer, road in shadow. It's just this little part over here. That's pretty good. So with that in mind, what about this? So always color in relation, right? I want the snow to be much lighter than the road, so I have to kind of account for, I can't go too light with the road, knowing what the snow is going to be. Also, you know, I talk about directional mark making. The road in perspective comes down. And so you'll see that, like, by drawing it like that, you kind of have this sense toward that vanishing point. It's also a kind of a warm gray, which is good because warm colors come forward and cool colors go back. So we have kind of a nice layer. This is like where a snowbank in the shadow. And that's going to be some sort of funky blue. I am going to try in my softer pastels to claim that. That's a good start. Now I'm going to lighten up that snow. What do I have? And as I stare, I'm like, do I not have a good color? Let's try this. And these are softer. So you'll see, even if I hold it lightly, it gives me more of a mark than the new pastels do. The Senneliers are beautiful. I've said too before that if you are going to invest, these new pastels are very much like workhorses of the studio. But if I only have like space for one thing, I bring the Senneliers because I can do the whole piece with them. All right, back to snow. This is a gray. I'm reserving using white for the end. Because like once I get that in, I won't be able to make anything lighter than white. All right, so now for the tricky part. What color is the red barn? So let's see. Let's start here. Yeah, that's good. So as I bear down, it's a little bit too bright. So I'm going to darken it. And what's funny is it's probably going to cross into browns, oranges, things like that. Oh, see, that's decent. Okay, so there is the barn. And then there's like a little triangle over here of another building. Okay, now I'm going to do the little white farmhouse. I'm getting the lightest gray, so it pushes back a little, and it's more of a suggestion. Like as you drive by, you don't even see that it's a farmhouse. It's only because I'm here with this reference that I can say, oh yeah, a farmhouse. So, okay, what color for the roof? So what's interesting is we talk about edges. Edges are where color meets color. The roof is covered in snow, and it's at a similar plane from what we see in the sky. So it's like the sky color, but just slightly different. I'm gonna try this. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out exactly what it is because I haven't landed on the color of the sky yet. And so when I know what that is, then I can address that. So that's something to always keep in mind. It's color in relation to other colors. My little thinking noise. Okay, that's that roof. There's another building over there, but let's not overcomplicate. I think that's going to be too warm here. So we have a bunch of trees over here, and this is still this green. So let's suggest that there's some under shrubby, twiggy things. And then in the top, those are a little bit darker. So let's see, suggesting some of those marks. And then in the distance, we've got shrubby, twiggy. So see how these aren't, we're not drawing shrubs and twigs, right? It's hatch marks, slashes, all good. Okay. Now, what color for the sky? I'm going to look to these new Senneliers and see, do I have a color that is that? It might be this one that, look, I've used so much now that I just have two little pieces. So that's making me a little nervous. So look, we'll get in with this one at the top. Skies have a beautiful gradient, right? From lighter to, darker at the top, more saturated to kind of a lighter. And so, I found this one. I wonder if this one will work. It does layer in beautifully. And look, I went over the roof. Oops, no big deal. All right, and then I'm gonna use these tiny little one. Yeah, it is brighter. I don't know that I like it though. That's kind of a relief because it was hard to hold. So pastels can be very bright, intense. And it's this funny balance of I want it to feel believable, but exciting. And so that's very much about color choice. So with a hard stick, see how I am bearing down and kind of blending that way. Okay. Let's see. So this is the light blue that I would normally use for the sky. And I am going to do some drawing here. Roof. Let's see. Roof. Good. Curb. Shadow. That'll have to be darker. Kind of mess, little suggestions of that. There's a fence that I'll probably get in. So what about, let's define this tree. I'm going to use the NuPastel and kind of draw the negative space of the sky. And in doing so, really bring out the tree details. Okay. Right, and now I can refine this drawing. I want, let's see, this is the like farmhouse sky, roof coming into the sky, and then the barn. And so in kind of fixing my drawing, I can go right over that, the drawing of the barn, and make it, like, correct my size and drawing. Okay, that's kind of a nice sky. Next, I want a little bit more detail in those buildings. So let's see. So this has a lovely peak, right? Just suggesting some of that architecture. This comes down at an angle like this, and then there's a window. I don't know if I'm going to get that in quite yet. Right, so already it's giving a little more of a sense of space. Okay, farmhouse situation. There's kind of some stuff over here. Connecting some shapes and some snow. I wonder if any locals watching would know where this is. I should probably just say, rather than make folks guess, but it's on Lawrence Street. Is this right? I need this darker. Let's try this one. And see how just darkening that really pushed it back? I'm gonna darken over here. Let's see. So in episode 7, when I talk about color, I say if you want to push something back, right, you make it cooler and lighter, warm colors come forward. And so, like, see these little changes that I'm making. But also, like I'm saying, this road, it needs to be lighter, maybe a little greener. And so I know what color it was. And so now I can look into the box and think, is there a color that is lighter greener? Let's try this. It's like a green. But if I drag it over it, see how it just kind of infuses some green there, changes the space. Okay. It does have space. Is it the space I want? I'm not sure, but I'm working on it. So this is white. Can you see the difference in what that can look like, pull us? I want this to be a little bit white over here. Getting there nicely. Where were you? There it is. Okay, back to the road. So I don't do a lot of blending. Let's see, if I use the brush, see how it kind of removes a lot? You can use your finger, but it tends to like flatten it all out. I'm not a big fan of that. I like more to find a color and put it on top. So, all right, so I am going to suggest some little details in the road, like all of these kinds of marks just give us a little more information. Let's do some darks over here. I think this one. All right. So in the past, right, I've talked about the food analogies about painting, and this painting now is at the frosting part, right? I've gotten it baked and some frosting on it. It's not quite decorating yet. I do love the food analogies. All right, I was talking about this before. This is kind of a good color for the roof. It almost disappears, which is what you want. And also then it's different than this one because that angle is different. Like it's not entirely real, but you do want some illusions to carry through. So I'm not loving this building over here because you can't really see it even over there. So there is a solution. And I'm going to take a brush and I am kind of getting rid of that. And I think I just might put sky there. We just need a barn. Let's see what happens. That one's too dark. I'm already going to like that. And let's get tree, more tree. There is a little fir tree over there. This is going to be good. So we're kind of starting to wind down this episode, which is crazy. It's so funny how time is relative. And there is a bunch more of the fun decorating parts to do. So I'm not sure if in the next episode I'll continue this because I had kind of an idea. But you know that I'll put it on my social media and website, blah, 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 in the meantime. And when I record in the studio again, not the next episode, but the next subsequent episode, I'll always show how it came out. But we do have a nice sense of space here. And I do think that that was a smarter idea than trying to get in some of that house that you couldn't see. And there's something so much fun about, as an artist, you have that permission. I don't have to paint exactly what's there. My viewers only know this. So it's fun to try to play with, like I want to lighten the sky a little bit. So I'm obviously still, what's the word, refining the whole piece. But in 20 minutes, some very good decisions about what is happening. It's funny too here because I don't step back enough. But like if I were constantly stepping back to look, it'd be kind of boring, I would think. But that's why like putting this in my studio and checking it out, looking at it from a distance, that'll really help me decide what does it need. Oh, and there's a telephone pole over here. There is a fence. When that goes in, it's going to really go far toward giving depth. And I'm suggesting it now. Look at that, I'm pretty excited. Add a little tree over here. So there we are, winter. I've said in past episodes, not my favorite season, but beautiful. Lots of color, really pretty things when I'm just driving around. And I'm excited to show you what it'll look like after some visits in the studio. But I love it. It's so New Englandy. So thanks for watching.